it's just funny how we look at what was such a huge part of the Premier League when Mourinho first came in. Now Cech has obviously gone upstairs at Chelsea. Yep. John Terry retired the season before last. Obviously Ashley Cole today. Saying goodbye to the old guard. How do you think we'll reflect back on that Chelsea defence back in its heyday? Back when Mourinho came in as this energising, funny, charismatic Portuguese.
The chosen one.
The chosen one. The chosen one. A very different Mourinho at the time. Yeah. Less grey hair as well.
Yeah, but the game's changed. And he's out the game now. And the one thing about Josie, he'll reevaluate. He's going around the world. He's seeing different coaches, seeing different mentalities. Trust me, he'll come back again and he will win trophies again.
There's a video of him in tears when he's talking about how much he misses football, which came out today. But Jose aside, what about looking back at the defence?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, they won trophies. Listen, you will look at teams, you look at the great Arsenal side that won trophies, the Invincibles. You'll always look back in history and admire what they've done. And as I say, Ashley Cole was a big part of what went on there. And he'll be long remembered at Chelsea and long remembered at Arsenal and long remembered playing for England. He's had a fantastic career.
What about someone like John Terry, the captain, holding things together at the back for so long?
You're trying to lead me on that one, aren't you?
I just want to know your take on him.
I'm not a fan of John Terry. I think he was a very good player. He played in a good side. I don't think he was as good as what people made him out to be. I think he was a good leader. He played alongside a lot of very good players. But, I'll give you, for instance, when we beat them and we went on to win the Rumbelows Cup in 1991, we highlighted isolating John Terry. And you don't talk about isolating a world-class defender if he, in fact, was a world-class defender. That's my personal opinion. But, other people will have a different opinion about that. But I'm saying that, and you look at JT, he's won every honour in the game.
He's won everything as well, yeah.
He's won every honour in the game. So I'm not saying he's not had a great career. He has, and he was a good footballer. I don't think he was the great defender that everybody made him out to be. I know for a fact he wasn't, and I highlighted that many a time at the BBC. Chelsea played a certain way that suited the way that John Terry played. And as the game developed, John Terry struggled with that because he wanted to play deep. He doesn't like running alongside centre-back, alongside the centre-forwards. And as the game was getting on, he got found out, even to the point of, even with his age, when he went to Aston Villa, they did very well to get the playoff finals, but the goal against Fulham that they went down was because he didn't want to run down the sides. But that's my personal opinion.
All I can say is I wished I had a career like John Terry.
No, and again, but you asked me.
Career.
But you asked me the question of about him being as a defender. I don't. He's had a fantastic career. But if you're putting it like the players who's played alongside him, would you put him in the same category as Marseille Desailly?
Probably not.
Would you put him in the same category as Ricardo Carvalho?
Similar.
Have you seen Ricardo
He's
play
very good. He's
at
very
Real
good.
Madrid?
But I just found that their partnership worked so well.
Yes,
it's hard to separate the two for Chelsea.
Because, as I said to you, JT is a good player. He played alongside some great central defenders. Two in particular I've just mentioned to you there.
Yeah, they are great examples as well.
But you need a balance. You need different qualities within any given unit in a team. And John Terry brought some qualities to that Chelsea back four that actually Desailly couldn't bring, for example, that Carvalho couldn't bring.
That's the partnership, isn't it?
Exactly. So he was equally as valuable. And if you look at his, we've said it already tonight, at the end of your career, you look back on, well, how many trophies have you won? Not so much how much money have you got in your bank account. John Terry's trophy cabinet is bulging. Oh, it's absolutely full, isn't it?
Yeah, but without a shadow of doubt. But you also got to be, sometimes in the right place at the right time. If he's coming up at Chelsea, he's got in that side. I'm not knocking John Terry at all because he has had a fabulous career. There's so many people you can talk about in different scenarios. Like, there's lots of players we can talk about being at the right place at the right time. He's a Chelsea legend. He's had a great career, but as a defender, is he one of the best British defenders that they talk about? I don't think he was. I mean, for me, if you give me the choice of Rio Ferdinand and John Terry, for instance, I'd take Rio Ferdinand all day long.
Yeah, I think that is that's a different debate, isn't it? Because yes, I believe that Rio Ferdinand was a better, or I would go for Rio Ferdinand over John Terry, but their styles and the type of player that they were was totally different.
No, he's a better defender.
Well,
as simple as.
It
It's as simple as. He's a better defender. Whether you say styles or whatever, Rio Ferdinand was a better defender than John Terry, and that is a fact. It's not an argument, but what I'm saying is right now, it's people's opinion, because sometimes it's like this. Somebody's just criticised me now on Twitter about my commentary.
Read out their names.
Yeah, and somebody's just criticised me on Twitter about my comments about John Stones. He said, "Oh well, you said." Yesterday about John Stones.
He hasn't evolved as much as you would have liked him to.
Well, and he said, "Oh well, he had a thigh strain yesterday." I said, I just replied to him, and he was very rude to me. And I said, "Listen, everybody's entitled to their opinion about football.
That's
right?
why it's football."
Yeah, that's why it's football. But mine's an educated opinion, because I've actually played the game and I've managed, so I do know a little bit about the game, right? So all I'm saying is that if you look at John Stones. Right, and he's having a go at me and saying, well, he was injured. I've asked her the question, from Christmas onwards, he was fit. Who played? Did he play in the Man City side or not? And the answer is no. They even brought company in every time when he was on his last legs, because they could rely on him as a defender. So I'm only calling it as I see it from an educated point of view, because I look at the game from a coach's perspective and from a perspective of playing the game.
A reporter actually asked Pep the same thing a few days ago about John Stones not evolving as much as Pep kind of beat around the bush. I don't think he's going to say things publicly, but maybe it's what he's thinking as well.
Listen, it's a fact. You don't pay £49 million. Was it £49 million?
Something,
that sort of
You don't pay £49 million for a player and he doesn't play. You're not going to do that. I mean, I'll tell you, who's the left-footed boy they got? Is it Laporte?
Eric Laporte.
Laporte, look at him. He's, 21, 22 years of age?
Now I think he's about 23, I think.
Is he 23?
Yeah, I think, ish, yeah.
23. In the short time he's been at Man City, he's already a better player than John Stones. A better defender, right? John Stones is a good footballer and always has been a good footballer, but he's not a good defender. And that's fact. So you can be in a side...
25, sorry, he's 25.
Is he 25? You can be in a side and win trophies because you bring something to the table. I speak to people at Chelsea because I've not played with John Terry. He's a fantastic leader. He gets around people, he encourages people, and he's a good player. All I'm saying is he's not the great defender that people think he is, and I used to prove that week in, week out when I was working with the BBC, just with isolated instances. And I gave you an instance of what we did at Sheffield Wednesday, and we had one of the best centre-forwards at the time, arguably at the time. The two of them made their debuts for England, David Hirst and Alan Shearer. They both made their debuts against France at the time. David got took off at half-time, and it was a toss-up who you take off, and then Alan Shearer's career went on. But David Hirst, I'll tell you what, we worked on isolating John Terry and rolling round the corner. We beat them 4-1. On aggregate, something like 7. And we've done that against isolating a player. Now, we wouldn't have gone to Man United and said, right, we're going to isolate Rio Ferdinand. You isolate Rio in one-on-one. He's happy for you to isolate him one-on-one. But he had great qualities. That's all I'm saying.
It's fantastic, isn't it, football? Subjective. It's about opinions, and most people will differ from anyone else. Maybe slightly, maybe quite hugely. And so that you don't get too much stick, Carlton, on social media and everything like that, it is purely Carlton's opinion. And he doesn't sit here as judge and jury on it. He doesn't. But he voices his opinion.
And we love him for that.
I personally, my feeling is that Carlton has been quite harsh on John Terry. And what supports my argument is, well, look at the trophies he's won. Because listen, I know what you're going to come back with, Carlton, but I played for 12 years in the top flight. Unfortunately, only 12 years because of injury, and that curtailed my career. And I went close on a number of occasions to winning things, but only managed to lift 2 trophies in that time. One with the England under-21s, European under-21 Championship, and one with Spurs, the UEFA Cup in '84. So, if John Terry walks in here now, his argument with me, if I said, well, actually, you weren't that great a player, he said, well, how many trophies did you win?
I'm going to ask you a question now, right? And I'm not being disrespectful or anything, right? If you've got a centre half who's there, and listen, this is not about knocking John Terry. I am not saying he is not a good player. He is a very good player. My argument is when he retired, people were saying he was the best British defender ever. Yeah. I don't agree with that. That's all I'm saying. I think he was a very good player who's had a very good career, miles better than me. Right? Sometimes you have to be honest in life.
Actually, he's just sent me a text and he said my career was much better than Carlton's.
Yeah. Well, and he did have a better career than me. But, at the end of the day, you have to be honest and look at things. In the media now, we have a job to, when the listeners are listening at home, to give an honest opinion. Too many times in the media, people come on TV and they watch, and they're worried about, oh, well, I'm not going to say that because, I don't want to upset that, or I'm going to say that to be controversial. I have said that for years about JT. I've said he's a good player, but he's not as great as everybody thinks. And so it's important when you come out here that people are listening at home. And we haven't got any clips here, because if we had clips, if you're going to say something, you should be able to back it up. When I was with the BBC, and Gary Lineker asked me, well, Carlton, I disagree with you. And I showed him clip after clip after clip. I'm talking about where I was talking about JT's inability to defend one-on-one. And you can't talk about being a great central defender if you can't defend one-on-one. You can't do that.
Which is what we were saying Ashley Cole was also good at.
Correct.
Which is what made him such a good defender. Fair enough.
Is that where we started with this
I think
debate?
so. We spent too long talking about defenders called John today, I think.